Hello and welcome to another X-Wing Miniatures expansion pack review from Fox Squadron. This one's a bit late actually. I meant to do this review on Saturday, a day after I bought the packs, but I was busy on Saturday hosting my friend. He came over, so I was busy hosting him, and then on Sunday I was working at the airsoft field, and on Monday I was working on my car, and today is Tuesday, so I finally have the time, a couple hours at least, to get this done, so I'm hoping I get it done today, and released by Wednesday, if not earlier today, which would be great. And yeah, probably most of you already seen the reviews on other YouTube channels. I try to get it out as early as possible so people actually watch it, but stuff happens, I guess. That's okay though. Anyways, getting right into it. These models look really good for the Z-95 Headhunters. I really like the paint job. Kind of really matches well together, the red and the white. Red's done in the exact right places, and the white looks really good as well. I'm not exactly sure if these are the best models we've seen so far. They definitely look really nice. I'd say an easy top 5 for me at least. I'm not exactly sure for other people. They might put them lower or higher or whatever. But yeah, personally, I think they're really good looking. I would say even top 3, but that's just me. I don't know if anyone else really thinks the way I do. So yeah, they look really good. It's really impressive ships too. These guys have pretty interesting stuff to put on the table. And if you're wondering what they look like compared to the normal Z-95 Headhunters, I have my friend Z-95 Headhunter here, and you can obviously see that the clone Z-95 Headhunter is a very thick boy. He's very big compared to the normal little Z-95 Headhunters, which is interesting because both Z-95s actually have the same stat bar. You would think that the clone Z-95 would actually have more total health, even if it was just shields. But no, it looks like they're just keeping him down lower. And I think the reason why for that is because the clone Z-95 pilots are really cheap. They're really good, but they're really cheap for their price. I mean, you can put a lot of them in your squadron, and they pair well with Jedis because you can throw like a 4 initiative one of these with plasma torpedoes on with a Jedi, and that's a really good combination. So without further ado, let's get into the upgrade. All the pilot cards and upgrades. So first off, let's go over their stat bar. They have 2 attack, 2 agility, 2 hull, and 2 shields. Nothing super special here. We've already seen this with the Z-95 Headhunter for the Rebels and the Scum and Villainy faction. It's not a very good stat bar. It's like a little bit better than a Vulture Droid. So you're still going to see these things kind of die really fast. 1 or 2 shots is going to kill one of these guys. 1 4-dice shot or 1 5-dice shot usually. But maybe like 2 3-dice shots will kill it. So yeah, nothing really special here. Action bar is focus, target lock, and a red barrel roll. And this is kind of surprising. I expected a white barrel roll, seeing as how different the ship is. Like, we have better thrusters, we have more wide out wings, and it looks like it could spin a lot easier than the other Z-95. But yeah, it's still red, which is okay, I guess. The ship ability does kind of make up for the lack of this, though. So the ship ability is Versatile Frame. And Versatile Frame is, you can equip 1 torpedo or missile upgrade. While your revealed maneuver is blue, add a white boost action to your action bar. So this is what really makes the Z-95 good. The ability to take like a plasma torpedo or a concussion missile to boost your attack from 2 to 3. And with plasma torpedo, obviously your attack's really 4 if the opponent has shields. Makes the Z-95s hit very hard compared to the other Republic fighters right now. So obviously Arc 170s are going to hit the same as them, but other smaller ships like V-19 Torrents and V-Wings always need like a munition, and they usually don't have them, or they usually just don't have like a good one to equip. Z-95s on the other hand can equip these ones, and combined with their upgrade bars, they actually have a very interesting combination with concussion missiles. So they can actually be very good. And yeah, the white boost action off of doing a blue maneuver is it's good. I don't think it's very good, but it's definitely good. It's very interesting is the right word to say, I think. Because obviously it does limit your maneuverability. The blue maneuvers on these guys, which I forgot to actually show their dial, which I'll show up here real quick, is obviously their only blue maneuvers are 1 through 3 forwards and 2 banks. And then they obviously have 1 white bank maneuvers, 2 3 bank maneuvers in the right or left direction. These 1 and 3 banks are all white. The 2 and 3 hards in both directions are white. The 4 straight is a white, and the 4 K-turn and 3 K-turn are reds. So blue maneuver wise, you have options. A 1 straight to a 1 bank boost is actually a 3 bank maneuver. So these guys do have the potential to do 3 banks on their own whim and choice. Just kind of like 1 forward and if the position is good, stay there or boost in to kind of get better range or get to objective or to escape a situation, or just whatever reason you need to do that. 2 bank to a boost can be very good as well as a 3 forward to a boost. So they have a lot of options on their action bar. They're definitely not. This definitely isn't a bad ability. I definitely think the ability to take a missile or a torpedo is what really shines on these guys, though. And I think definitely is what's gonna make them really good pilots. So, anyways, let's look at our first of our 2 generic pilots. At 2 initiative, we have the 7th SkyCorps Pilot. Yeah, nothing special about him. He's only 2 initiative. He does not literally have really anything going for him. He's only got a loadout value of 3 currently in the game right now. So he's not even able to take any torpedoes or missiles, seeing as how ion missiles got buffed from 2 points to 4. And there's no 3-point missiles except for Discord missiles, which are only for the Separatist Alliance droids. And no 3-point torpedo, obviously. So, yeah, the only upgrades you can equip onto him through his upgrade bar are he has a system slot and he has a modification slot, and then that's it. He doesn't have anything else. So the only real thing I think that works well for him is fire control system with synchronized console. You acquire a target lock, you get to reroll one of your dice with the fire control system, and then at the end of your attack, you spin the target lock to hand it to another SkyCorps pilot with the same loadout value. The difference is that second SkyCorps pilot, though, could have focused, so now he has a reroll with a focus on his attack. So it could be a very good kind of chain reaction of like putting 4 of these guys on your list to shoot the same target multiple times. The only problem is his cost is the same as all the other costs in the game at 3 squad points, meaning that you're really not going to run him over running another ace like Slider or Knack, who we'll see later in the expansion pack. So currently, unless you're flying a tournament where only generics are allowed, he's just kind of useless. You do get 2 copies of this card, though, in your expansion pack, just like you get 2 Z-95, so that's really cool. But yeah, kind of a useless pilot right now in the game. Our next and final generic for the Clone Z-95 Headhunter is the Reaper Squadron Scout at 3 initiative. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is the squadron that Kaz Kazumoto referred to in the Star Wars Resistance show. Very cool to see that they're actually canonized and canonological now. Yeah, even though the show's bad, I thought that was a pretty cool reference that they referenced the clone pilots. And I think probably the best reference in that show other than all the First Order stuff. But yeah, I definitely think it's cool. The only difference between this pilot and the first generic is that obviously it's 3 initiative. They're the same cost both ways. This pilot does have less of a loadout value though at 2 points, and the upgrade bar is actually changed up. So obviously both of those both of the generics can take the missile or torpedo from the versatile frame upgrade. That's not taken away. But where the first generic has a system and a modification slot, this generic actually had the Reaper Squadron Scout generic actually has an EPT and a system slot, but no modification. So he also only comes in at 2 points with his loadout value, meaning that you can only either run Fire Control System, Predator, or Expert Handling to make your barrel roll a white. Yeah, so it's decent. If it was a 3 loadout value, we could take Crack Shot, obviously, and I think that would be really good. But even though this guy, even if he had a 3-point loadout value, I don't think he'd be played. He still has the same problem as the other generic, just the ace pilots are the same price, and they have pilot abilities as well as a loadout value that's on average 4 times as much. So there's really no point to flying even the Reaper Squadron Scout. Not very much going for him. I think it is important to note that you will not be able to use Daredevil on Z-95 Headhunters. Obviously, they get the white boost action added to their action bar after they do a blue maneuver. The problem is they don't have the boost action like on their action bar like inheritedly, basically, meaning that they can't take Daredevil on. Because Daredevil, you can only equip it if you have the boost action on your action bar. Even though the Z-95 Hunters technically can gain the boost action, they don't have it on them during the equipping upgrade cards, which is like not a phase really. It's just kind of like before the game. So they will not be able to use Daredevil. I tried using Daredevil, putting Daredevil on these guys, but it does not work in the X-Wing apps, and that's the reason why is because they don't have the action on their action bar until they do a blue maneuver. So anyways, let's move on to the unique pilots, starting with Killer. While you perform an attack, if the defender has 2 or fewer hull remaining, you may roll 1 additional attack die. If you do, gain 1 deplete token after rolling attack dice. His initiative is 2. So he's going to be shooting last, which is kind of good for his ability, since his ability focuses on finishing stuff off. So he's got a really good ability for doing that. Since he is kind of a low initiative, that means he could be shot off the table before he even gets to shoot. especially being in a Z-95 Headhunter. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. He's kind of just there to finish off shots and just be an extra ship for you. It's a really nice ability. It's not, like, great by no means. He can only roll the extra attack die if the opponent's really low. And in some cases, it might just be better just to shoot him with the 2 dice you already have, especially if it's a Vulture Droid at 1 hull. But it is a very good ability for finishing off like TIE Fighters or TIE Interceptors with higher agility. And this ability also activates if you have like a missile or a torpedo. So say you have a 3 attack dice concussion missile. Because this ability says while you perform an attack, you can roll 4 dice with that concussion missile. Not really sure why you would do that if they only have 2 or fewer hull remaining. I guess you would do that in scenarios where the defender has some really good agility values with some really good modifications, like say the Mandalorians. He's got really good evades. You need to put that 2 damage through. You're gonna roll 4 dice on him. That way, if he gets his 2 evades, you still have 2 hits pushing through and finishing him off. Or against TIE defenders, obviously, because they have really strong defense. So yeah, he can be really good with the 4 dice attack against really anything that has high hull. And because his ability activates against 2 or fewer hull, you can also use him against Z-95 Headhunters or other ships that only have 2 hull at the start of the match. So he can immediately just nuke another ship that has low hull like him, which is very interesting. I definitely think we'll see a lot of him, especially with like say cards like Plasma Torpedoes, just because he's able to roll those 4 dice with an auto shield that's basically 5 damage. And that can essentially one-shot other Z-95s or other A-Wings or just any ship with only 2 hull on the table. And there's actually quite a few of them. Not a whole lot, but there's quite a few of them. And his ability is good just for finishing off ships in general anyways. I ran on here. Let's get to his upgrade bar and loadout value. So his loadout value is actually like going to be the highest out of all of our Z-95 Headhunter pilots at 11 points. Just 1 point shy of not being able to use proton torpedoes, unfortunately. But he does have a lot more options. He has the 2 talents. He has the versatile frame upgrade, obviously, that can give him a missile or torpedo. But on top of that, he also has 2 talent slots, a sensor upgrade slot, a cannon upgrade slot, and a modification upgrade slot. So the cannon upgrade is what's really interesting. He's the only Z-95 Headhunter pilot with a cannon upgrade, meaning you can use heavy laser cannon or ion cannon, which can be very good as well. Auto Blaster is, of course, banned from standard play, but you can still use it in extended if you want to. And with 2 talents, he can easily use, like, Expert Handling to get a white barrel roll, and another talent could be Crack Shot, Predator, or Crack Shot and Predator together to really maximize your bullseye arc shot. Overall, a very strong loadout value. There's a lot of stuff you can do with him, for sure. I think Plasma Torpedoes and 4 extra points, like Fire Control System, Synchronized Console to pass your target lock to someone else after getting 1 reroll would be really great. Or getting a target lock from someone else since he's such a low initiative value. Or just dual EPTs and Plasma Torpedoes. There's a lot of options with him, basically. I definitely think we'll see a lot of play with him. Yeah, he's just got a really good finishing ability. The only real drawback is gaining the Deplete token. It really does force him to only do blue maneuvers if you want to keep him at a high shoot rate. You can use, however, Hound from the Republic gunship to take that Deplete token. But that's if Hound isn't already taking other red tokens. So you kind of have to really mitigate the amount of red tokens you're using with Hounds. That way Hound can take the red token from Killer. But overall, really good pilot ability for finishing stuff off. He's lower initiative value, but yeah, not a bad pilot at all. Alright, now we're jumping into our 3 initiative unique pilots, starting with Warthog, who we've seen before in the Republic gunship, and he's got the same exact pilot ability. After you or a friendly non-limited ship at range 0 to 2 are destroyed during the engagement phase, that ship is not removed until the end of that phase. A very solid ability for keeping your generics around so that they can still shoot. And it obviously works on himself as well, which is really great. And yeah, it's a good pilot ability. The only problem is generics don't really have enough points in the game right now. Like running, obviously, Killer has 11 points compared to the 7th SkyCorps Pilot with only 3. So you're not really going to want to run the 7th SkyCorps Pilot. You're going to want to run Killer, because not only does Killer have more points for his loadout, he also has more upgrades. He has talent slots, he has a cannon slot, and he just has the points to use a missile or torpedo, unlike the 7th SkyCorps Pilot, which only has 3 points. So Warthog's ability, although it's good, just doesn't really have any viable candidates for it anymore, now that generics are kind of just gone. It does work on himself, though, which can be very good, especially seeing as how his loadout value is actually 10 points, which is the 2nd highest for any of these clone pilots. His upgrade bar is 1 talent slot, one sensor upgrade slot, one modification slot, and of course the missile or torpedo from his versatile frame upgrade. So basically a very basic upgrade bar for Z-95 Headhunters. He's got everything that most of the other guys have with no really extra or less than. But yeah, we'll move on to our next our next unique pilot. Our next 3 initiative pilot is Drift. He's actually a brand new pilot for the Republic, so his ability, while a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 performs an attack, if you have exactly 1 non-lock red token or exactly 1 orange token, that ship may reroll 1 attack die. And he comes in at initiative 3, obviously. And yeah, it's a pretty good ability. If you're able to give him a red token, he's able to give you rerolls, which would be very useful, especially in a Z-95 Headhunter swarm. Obviously, something I was hinting at earlier was using fire control system and synchronized console with concussion missiles. The idea behind that is to reroll one of your dice with the fire control system. That way your concussion missile has a mod, and you can then spin the target lock at the end of your attack to pass it to another Z-95 Headhunter. That next Z-95 Headhunter now has a focus with a reroll on its concussion missiles, and it kind of just keeps passing down the line with that. But this guy adds a reroll to everyone in that squad, so you go from 1 reroll to 2. So 2 rerolls with focus for all 4 of your shots, except for your first, obviously. Your first is only getting those 2 rerolls, but that's still a lot to get modification out there. And it can really just buff up your Z-95 Hunter Swarm and make it like really, really good with the rerolls. And just in general, he's an okay ability. There's obviously a lot of abilities out there that do rerolls, like Sinker from the Republic Arc 170. Which is a really expensive pilot right now, so this pilot definitely is more sensitized, is more cheaper, so you're going to be more sensitive to using him over Sinker now. And also the Republic Gunship, which can give you 2 rerolls off of spinning a charge token. So there's a lot of abilities that do opposite rerolls. He is better than the Arc 170 pilot Drift, but Drift may not be as good compared to the Republic Gunships because they can just reroll those dice on their own. And there's also so many abilities that give you focus, so pilots can constantly just do a target lock and then get a focus from somewhere else. So his ability isn't like the best mod, but when you put him in a Z-95 Headhunter swarm or any real swarm with a lot of ships, I definitely think his ability is good. The only problem is giving him a red token. It seems kind of like an easy task, but it's also kind of hard at the same time because you want to give him the red token while he still has a focus or a target lock so he can still shoot stuff well. So that kind of rules out the red barrel roll because he wouldn't be able to... He can reroll his own dice, but without a target lock, he's not going to be able to shoot a missile, and a focus on him is always really good too. So even though he can reroll his own dice with a red token, that red barrel is not the best. You can use Hawk in the other Republic gunship to give him which at the start of the end phase, Hawk gives everyone a boost or a barrel roll if they did a 3-speed maneuver, 3 or higher speed maneuver. They get a strain token doing it though, so obviously Drift can take a strain boost from Hawk at the start of the end phase and the next round do a 2 white hard. He still carries the strain token. The only problem is once Drift is shot at, he's going to lose the strain, and because he's a low initiative pilot, that's probably going to happen. There's other red token abilities though that give him stuff like deplete tokens and stuff, but that lowers his attack value. Right now, I think the best combination with him is a Republic gunship or another crew carrier with Ahsoka Tano, gunner, or crew. That way he's able to do a red focus and combine that with his target lock. Now he's got a full mod shot. Everyone around him's getting a reroll, which is great. But yeah, there's different ways you can use his ability. Even just doing the red barrel is good as well. You can easily have someone else fire the concussion missile and use synchronized console to pass the lock over to Drift. That way now Drift has his lock to use this missile and he can still reroll his own die. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of uses for him. You can definitely find some ways to get around his ability and still give him the red tokens for the rerolls. And his loadout value is coming in at 5, which is very low. The lowest generic loadout value, the lowest unique pilot loadout value of the Z-95 Headhunters. His upgrade bar is not bad though. He's got a talent slot, a sensor upgrade slot, a modifications upgrade slot, and the versatile frame upgrade slot, obviously, which is the missile or torpedo. So he's not bad. He has the ability to... He's basically the same upgrade bar as Warthog, but he only has half the points, meaning that you can really only do 1 missile on him, and depending on how expensive that missile is, you're then going to have to run only like a 1-point upgrade. So he's kind of got a low loadout value, which does kind of hurt him a lot for sure, especially seeing as how he probably does want a fire control system combined with his missile upgrade, so he can get 2 rerolls on himself. But yeah, he's an alright pilot though. I definitely think we'll see him like in swarm lists for sure, just because that reroll is very good. But yeah, other than that though, yeah, I think we'll see him around. Just not super popular as the other Z-95 pilots, but we'll definitely see him around. I guess you could say he'll be drifting in and out of the competitive scene or the list scene. Our next unique pilot is Boost. At Initiative 3, his pilot ability is, at the start of the engagement phase, if there is a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 whose revealed maneuver is blue, you may perform a boost action. So just to clarify, this since it just says friendly ship at range 0 to 1, this includes Boost as well. So Boost himself can have a revealed maneuver of blue, and at the start of the engagement phase perform a boost action. You do not have to have another ship next to him doing blue maneuvers to activate his ability. He himself can activate his own ability just by doing a blue maneuver himself, which is really good. It basically means that you can do a blue maneuver and then just do a boost at the start of engagement phase with this guy, which is very powerful after everyone's already moved, meaning he kind of has the final say on where he positions and what goes on. He's able to escape firing arcs, get into firing arc, get into range, get to objectives. Yeah, it's a very powerful ability. Really good. There's really not much for me to say about this. It's just really good. I'd say he's probably the third or second best pilot in this expansion. We're going to see a couple other guys that are really good, but he's definitely very strong. I definitely think we'll see a lot of him. That boost ability is very, very powerful. Anyways, his loadout value is 8. Which is what we're going to see for probably the rest of the, which is what we're going to see for pretty much the rest of the Z-95 pilots that are unique as 8 points on their loadout value. But his upgrades are a little bit interesting. He's got 2 talent slots, a sensor slot, a modification slot, and obviously the missile or torpedo slot from the versatile frame ship ability. So a very good upgrade bar. Obviously he's got a lot of options when it comes to talents. With 2 of them. He's also got the system, he's also got the modification, just like the other Z-95 pilots, and the same missile or torpedo slots. At 8 points, you will be able to run concussion missiles, fire control system, and synchronized console on him. So you could, this is another candidate that can work with the whole passing target locks to focus fire, or to get everyone, there are full mods to shoot down a ship. Or you can just use an advanced proton torpedo, which is 8 points, or a proton rocket, which is 8 points. So yeah, there's a lot of really good uses for this guy just with the boost action. He's a very good ability, and I like too how his name matches what he does, which is really cool. The only pilot that doesn't really match their name in this expansion is Drift. Obviously, Killer kills stuff when it's really low. Warthog, his ability, well, his pilot doesn't match it. His name doesn't match his ability either. But Drift doesn't match his pilot ability either. I'd expect with Drift to be something more like boosting or barrel rolling or slide slipping, but he doesn't have that. He just has an ability that kind of just helps people at range 1 of him. But yeah, boosts at start of engagement phase, which is really nice. That's what he does. And Killer finishes off stuff by killing him, which is really great. So yeah, Boost though, really good pilot. Looking forward to playing him. And yeah, he's going to be really strong. And our next unique pilot, which will be our final 3 initiative unique pilot, is Stub. Scrappy Flyer. His initiative is 3, and it looks like he's taking out an Umbaran Fire, which is interesting. I always thought the Umbaran Fires were invincible in the Clone Wars. That's what they seem to be like, but I guess they can actually be destroyed, which is really cool. It means that we'll probably see the Umbaran Fighters in X-Wing, which is cool now that they're not indestructible, so they won't be like ultra overpowered. So that's great. Anyways, his pilot ability, while you defend, if the speed of your revealed maneuver is even, roll 1 additional defense die. While you perform a primary attack, if the speed of your revealed maneuver is odd, roll 1 additional attack die. This is a really good ability. It basically makes him either an A-Wing on defense or on offense a X-Wing, essentially, with the extra attack die there. So, obviously doing odd maneuvers would be better if you're just flying with no upgrade cards, because extra attack is always better than extra defense. Defense dice are kind of finicky. On each defense die, there's only 3 results for an evade, meaning that 3 defense is kind of the same as 2 defense, unless you have a focus token, specifically for your defense mod. But your attack dice are obviously 50-50 when it comes to rolling hits, so it's obviously better to roll attack dice. But the interesting thing about Stub is he still has a loadout value of 8 to the other Z-95 Headhunters. And his upgrade bar is essentially the same as Warthog. It's 1 talent slot, 1 sensor upgrade slot, 1 modification slot, and 1 versatile frame upgrade, which is just the missile or torpedo slot. So he's got the ability to use a concussion missile with the fire control system synchronized console strat. And what's really powerful about him is that he can just do an even maneuver, and now he's got 3 defense dice. So he's basically doing the same thing as the other Z-95 Hunters, but he's doing it better because he has extra defense to stay alive. Or you can run him with Crack Shot and just use his primary weapon to shoot down people. Even if you're using the concussion missiles, you can always just do a 1-forward when you think you're going to be at range 1. That way you're rolling 4 dice instead of 3, and you basically just hit whatever's coming at you in the face really, really hard. Overall, this is a really good pilot. Definitely a second or third place pilot for sure. I'm not sure if he's better than Boost. Boost's ability is just really good. This ability is very, very good though. But yeah, I think honestly, between the two, I think it'll kind of just time will tell which one's better. They're both very strong. I think they're both second place, to be honest. But I think depending on the player flying the pilots, like some players will like Boost more because they can really work with that. Other players will really work better with Stub. But yeah, overall his ability is really good. There's really no flaws with him, honestly. He's just 3 attack dice on an odd maneuver, 3 defense dice on an even maneuver. Obviously, it does kind of limit what maneuvers he's going to execute if you want to fly him certain ways. Like, if you want to always have 3 defense dice, he's only going to be able to do 2 and 4 speed maneuvers. Whereas if you only want him to have, if you want him to always have an extra primary attack die, he's only going to be able to do 1 and 3 speed maneuvers. So you really got to think about that when you're flying him, as well as just what position is best. That's why I think the missile slot really helps him out, because you can acquire a lock and now have 3 attack dice, so you can always do an even maneuver just to have those 3 defense dice, and only do an odd maneuver when you feel like you want to take a focus over a target lock, or if you just need to be at range 1 to roll that 4 dice. So yeah, he's a very good pilot though overall. Definitely looking forward to flying him. Yeah, it's a really good pilot ability for sure. I definitely am looking forward to seeing him on the table. And next up we have Hawk, our first 4 initiative unique pilot. And we've already seen this guy in the Republic gunship. He's got the same exact pilot ability. At the start of the end phase, each friendly ship at range 0 to 1 that has a revealed maneuver of a speed 3 through 5 may gain 1 strain token to perform a barrel roll or boost action. This was the pilot I was talking about earlier that could possibly pair well with Drift. Obviously, Drift wants a red token. Strains are red tokens. So you could have Drift do a boost at the start of the end phase and then do a 2 white hard on his next maneuver phase. The only problem, obviously, is that the strain could be shot off Drift, so this isn't exactly a great combination, but it could work. In general, Hawk's ability is very strong against Discord missiles. Obviously, Discord missiles will still do the critical damage to you at the end of engagement phase, but you'll be able to do a barrel roll so that next round you don't have to really worry about losing the Discord missiles. You already just lost them at the start of the end phase by just taking a strain token and repositioning. You can also be pretty powerful, too, to reposition all of your guys at the start of the end phase. Now that Hawk is in a smaller base ship and he's cheaper, it actually will be a very good ability. I definitely think we'll see him with a lot of Z-95 Hunter swarms, just because he's 4 initiative, meaning he can shoot before a lot of other players shoot. I mean, a lot of other pilots shoot, sorry. So he's got that really high initiative value, and he's really cheap now. So putting him with like 3 other or 4 other Z-95 Hunters could be really good now, just to give everyone a booster barrel roll. It's also really good for objective as well. You can make everyone just get to the right positions, make everyone avoid asteroids, or just really mess the entire table up. Obviously, it's only at the start of the end phase, though, so your opponent will still have time to plan their maneuvers around where you position your guys. And it can be also kind of easy to guess where they're going. Like, obviously, if I barrel roll around an asteroid, you can guess that if the opponent starts to the other side of that asteroid, I'm obviously going to be doing 2 hards towards them, or 3 hards, or 2 banks. It's easy to guess where I'm going to end up. But it is a kind of strong ability in general. His high initiative value is really great, and the fact that his loadout value is really good on the Z-95 Headhunter makes him a good pilot to fly. His loadout value is 8, just the same as Stub and Boost. Obviously, you're going to be taking them before you take Hawk, but at least Hawk has the same loadout value, so if you're doing the same strategy of Conk and concussion missiles and synchronized console and fire control system, he can also do that as well. And his upgrade bar is 1 talent upgrade slot, 1 sensor upgrade slot, the missile or torpedo versatile upgrade slot, and 2 modification upgrade slots. So he's able to do munitions failsafe and synchronized console, or electronic baffle and synchronized console, or just whatever you want for 2 modification upgrade slots. It's just kind of silly he does have 2 though, because Hull upgrade was recently nerfed. He's not going to be able to do Hull and another modification slot. So the only increase in health that you can get right now is shield upgrade, which is 8 points, which would take his entire loadout value. So 2 modification slots is good. It's just not, I guess, the best at the moment. It's still definitely okay though, for sure. Definitely interesting, the fact that he has 2 of them. But yeah, he'll definitely be an okay pilot. Like I said, I think a lot of people will fly him just for the 4 initiative. There's obviously another 4 initiative pilot in this expansion, another 5 initiative pilot in this expansion. So you probably want those 2 first, but if you want like a third pilot with a really good initiative value for only 3 points, and you're not going to fly Click, Hawk would definitely fit that role very well, at least if you want another Z-95 pilot. And our final 4 initiative unique pilot, not our last unique pilot, but just our last 4 initiative unique pilot, is Slider. Probably one of the best pilots in this expansion, if not the best. When you reveal a 2 bank to the left or a 2 bank to the right maneuver, you may spend 2 charge to execute it as a slide slip. So for those of you that don't know what slide slips are these maneuvers right here. I'm going to show you the diagram. So instead of just doing the normal maneuver of a 2 bank, just putting it in front of your ship, when you have a slide slip maneuver, you're actually going to take it and put it to the side of your ship as if you're doing a barrel roll, but then end up on the other side of it. So basically your maneuver is essentially just a barrel roll. It's very powerful for flanking and repositioning. And the fact that on Slider the 2 bank is already a blue, that means he can still do a boost after doing that side slip, which is very powerful for closing the distance. With expert handling, you can also take a white barrel, which can be very great. And in general, this is just a really good pilot ability. He's in a joust, he can essentially say no. And the fact that this only happens when he reveals his maneuver means that he can still do his 2 bank if he really wants to. Like, there could be a situation where you have a vulture droid in front of you, and a 2 bank could counter it if it just goes straight. But if it goes to the right, a 2 side slip would be perfect because now you're countering the vulture droid. So he's very unpredictable in that regard, and the fact that he can really go either way, which is very powerful. At 4 initiative, he's not like the best initiative for using this. If he was like a 5 or a 6, he'd be overpowered, obviously. But that he's a 4, he's really balanced in the area that he's going to counter a lot of the lower initiative pilots, but the higher initiative pilots aren't going to be countered by him. It's still a very solid ability, though. It gives him a lot more maneuver options, especially for maneuvering around asteroids to kind of surprise the enemy. And yeah, he's a very good pilot overall. He can only use it every once per 2 rounds, though, because he does have to spend 2 charges. He does have the recurring charge slot, which is great, but that's only 1 charge recovered per round, meaning that every 2 rounds you're going to use his ability, not every round. So you can't side slip multiple times in the same. You can't side slip activation phases back to back. You kind of have to do it every other activation phase. So you do have to be kind of careful using it to use it at the best opportune moment. But it is a really good pilot ability, though. Very solid and fun and very good to use as well. So it's a fun ability, and it's very good too, which is nice. And anyways, his upgrade bar is 2 talent upgrades, 1 sensor upgrade, 2 modification slots, and the obviously missile or torpedo slot due to the versatile ship ability. So this is basically Hawk on steroids. He's got the 2 modification slots, he's got the 2 talent slots, he's got the sensor upgrade slot. He's very loaded out. You can do a lot with him. Yeah, I don't really think I need to say much more about the upgrades you can equip. He's got an 8 loadout value, so he can do the same thing as the other Z-95 Headhunters with the concussion missile, fire control system, synchronized console strap, or you just have him do double EPTs with a couple modifications, or a missile and 2 EPTs. There's a lot you can do with him. So yeah, he'll be very good, just upgrade bar wise as well as loadout value wise. Those combine very well. His ship pilot ability makes him really good too. So yeah, I definitely think we'll see a lot of him. I think he's the best pilot in this expansion, personally, just because that side slip can really throw the opponents off, and the fact that he can either do a 2 bank or a slide slip on his choice when he decides to do that maneuver makes him very unpredictable and very good against lower initiative pilots, which we'll see a lot of, I think. And yeah, he's really good. So looking forward to seeing him on the table. I think we'll see a lot of him on the table. And finally, we have Knack, our 5 initiative pilot. I was surprised. I thought they would have Oddball in this expansion pack, but instead they have a completely brand new pilot, which is really cool. The first clone ship that Oddball is not flying in. Very interesting. But anyways, Knack, after you are destroyed, you may choose a friendly non-limited ship at range 0 to 2 and assign one of your equipped EPT talent upgrades to it. End of game, return all EPT upgrades to their original ships. It's a decent pilot ability. There's not really that many good EPTs right now in the game. The one I can think of that could be really good on him is Squad Leader, where he does a red coordinate action, coordinates to somebody, and then if he dies, he can just pass it to another generic, so that coordinate kind of continues on through the rest of the game. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of other options for support the Republic has. They don't really need coordinate. They have ships that are designed for that, as well as just upgrade cards that can do it better. Without even coordinating, they just already get focuses. So I guess the only other upgrade that might be good is Crack Shot, where if he doesn't get to use it, he can pass it off to a generic so that that generic can still get maybe a chance to use that crack shot before it's used up. Or Predator, I guess. I don't know. The main problem is, obviously, generics aren't really usable in the game right now. There's really no incentive to use them, so there's really no incentive to use this guy's pilot ability. It doesn't mean he's bad. At 5 initiative, he's still really good. His loadout value is 7 points, so you can easily put a plasma torpedo on him, have him strip shields off a target before, say, a Jedi pilot like Obi-Wan or Aayla Secura shoots it. And I think that's where we're really going to see this guy in Republic support list, firing that plasma torpedo first, taking off those shields so that Obi-Wan can finish off the target really nicely, or that Aayla Secura can do the job. And just mainly because he's a high initiative pilot, he'll be really good in that area. His pilot ability probably will never be used, but the fact that he has a really high initiative value means that he's a great plasma torpedo carrier. His loadout value, like I said, is only 7 points, so if you do take a plasma torpedo, that's going to be all your points. You're not going to be able to use anything else. But yeah, anyways, he does have the missile or torpedo slot, a sensor slot, a modification slot, and 2 talent upgrades. So if you are going to use his pilot ability, he has a lot of options. You can use Crackshot and Predator, or Crackshot and Expert Handling, cards that you might pass to a generic as well. So yeah, he can definitely be good with his pilot ability because he has 2 talent slots. But overall, I think he's going to be stronger just using a plasma torpedo to strip shields before anyone else shoots. That way, you know, his friendlies can shoot the target now that that target doesn't have any shields. So yeah, not a great pilot ability, but a really nice initiative value with just enough points for the loadout value to make him good. So I definitely think we'll see him played quite a bit here and there. Probably the 4th best pilot just because of his initiative value and his loadout value combination. And this is where we're going to end this half of the video, where we look at all the Z-95 Headhunter pilots and just look at the ship models in general. In the next video, we're going to wrap it up by looking at all of the upgrade cards in this expansion. So stay tuned for that.